Hello Year 10s, I hope you're getting on well with your coursework. Mr Blythe, Mr Hartley and I had a really good training session online with a member of Pearson's who has actually been running the BTEC course for a long time, and they were able to give us a lot of advice on how your coursework is going to be assessed and helping us to understand what you need to do to make sure that you get that level 2 pass, merit or distinction that you're aiming for. So I've put together this video, and I'm going to be putting together 3 more videos to take you through some of the things that you need to know before you complete and hand in your coursework to make sure that you're ticking all those boxes, that you're covering everything that you need to do. So this is just an introduction, but I want you to think about for a moment, let me just get my PowerPoint working, I want you to think about how you're getting on with the coursework. And obviously we need to keep an eye on that as you're working from home. How are you getting on with it? We need to think about, do you know what you need to do to finish off? And my concern at the moment is that some know very well what they need to do, but others maybe not so sure, and we need to try and get everybody to that same position of knowing what they need to do. And also, what do you need to do to get a pass, a merit or a distinction? And that is the main thing that we're going to be focusing on in these videos, making sure that you know exactly what you need to do. Okay, so coursework 1, we're going to do an overview in these videos of the different sections of the coursework. We're going to look at each section in turn in 3 separate videos to see what you need to do to get a pass, a merit or a distinction. We're also going to make sure that we understand the difference between the different command words that are being used. So for example, identify, outline, explain, discuss, assess. Those are different words that are used in the information that you've got in the guidelines from Pearson's about how to assess your work, and you need to know what all of those command words mean and where you're actually meeting those, because those will make a difference between getting a level 1 pass or level 1 merit and getting a level 2 pass, merit or distinction, whether you can understand what those mean and apply those different command words. Okay, so you know already, I'm sure, that the coursework is in 3 main sections. Okay, the first section, Learning Aim A, is all about the characteristics of the enterprise. So 2 bits to that really. One is talking about the enterprise itself, the business itself, and you need to do that for 2 different businesses, about the purpose, the activities and the aims of those 2 local enterprises. And the other thing you need to do in that section is talk about the entrepreneurial characteristics and skills of the people that run or own or set up those businesses. Okay, and of course you'll also know, although I've not got it on here, that there's part of that coursework that you only need to do for 1 business, but we'll go through that in more detail in the next video. Then there's Learning Aim B. Now I know that different classes are at slightly different stages. I know Mr Blythe's class, I think you're already well on with this. My class maybe not quite so much, not sure about Mr Hartley's class. But Learning Aim B is all about market research, and one of the things that we learnt from the trainer on Tuesday was that you needed to make sure you covered both of these things. So you need to look at market research that the business does in relation to making sure it meets customer needs, and market research that it does to understand competitor behaviour. You need to make sure you cover both of those. If you don't cover both of those, if you just focus on customer needs or just focus on understanding competitors, then you can't get much more than a level 2 pass, if that, for that section of the coursework, and it will limit you. So watch these videos to make sure that you understand exactly what you need to do. Then Learning Aim C is about factors contributing to success. We've talked about it in class, certainly in my class, and those are to do with the internal factors, the things that the business does have control or influence over, and external factors, those things that are outside the business's control. Big one at the moment obviously is the coronavirus, an external factor. The businesses can't control that and stop the coronavirus from happening, but they do need to respond to it and try to remain successful if possible through it. So those are the 3 parts of the coursework that you need to be doing, and you'll know where you are within that, which of those learning aims you've done. certainly my class, and I think Mr. Blythe's class, we're aiming for you to complete all of those by just after the Easter holidays. So I think it's April the 7th, we said, is the deadline for getting all of that done. So you've got some work to do, some of you. Okay, so the other thing I'm going to talk about in this video is about the common command words that you will come across, or that we need to know about. Okay, so first of all, identify. There are some things that say you need to identify things, and that's at a level 1 pass, so it's the lowest level. Okay, so for example, identify how market research is used. That's something that comes up in the that learning aim B. Identifying how market research is used. So here's an identify statement. The campsite, so imagining we're talking about a campsite business, the campsite uses online pricing data from the camping and caravanning club of which it is a member. That would be identifying a form of secondary market research that the business uses, and that's identified. That would get you a level 1 pass if you said about that as a form of market research that they did. Okay, but it wouldn't get you any further than that. What you need to get further than that is to outline. So outline gets you a level 1 merit in this particular section. So again, same question, but I've replaced identify with outline. Outline how market research is used. Okay, so I'm starting off in the same way. The campsite uses online pricing data from the camping and caravanning club to help it compare its own prices with other similar campsites around the country. So I've not just said what it does, but I've said why it does it in a brief way. So outline says what it involves, so it's helping them to compare its own prices with other similar campsites around the world. It's to enable them to look at the pricing and to be able to compare. And then explain is really saying a little bit more about how it helps them to meet their needs, and that gets you the level 2 pass. So here we go. Here's my explain statement for the same thing. Explain how market research is used. So starting off with the identify. The campsite uses online pricing data from the Camping and Caravan Club to help it compare its own prices with other similar campsites around the country. So that's the same as I said for identify and outline, but then they can then set their prices at a level which will attract customers given the facilities they offer, which will hopefully help to encourage new customers to camp with them instead of their competitors. So that's saying how they use it, why they do that market research. It's to help them set their prices, help them attract customers, help them to be able to compete with their competitors around them. But also bearing in mind what facilities they offer compared with what facilities other campsites around them offer, because if they offer a lot more facilities they can charge a higher price. Okay, so that's identify, outline, explain. That takes you up to a level 2 pass. Okay, on some of the tasks you've got, there's potential to get up to level 2 merit or level 2 distinction, so we're just going to look at those now. So here we go. Discuss, which is level 2 merit type work. Discuss how market research is used. Now discuss is about comparing, thinking about pros and cons. So we've got the same first statement there. That's what I did for explain. But then I've got a however. However, most of the data they find is for campsites in other parts of the country. Camping and Caravanning Club is a national organisation, and pricing for campsites varies significantly in different parts of the country based on their popularity as a holiday destinations. Lake District, places like Cornwall and Devon, are really popular holiday destinations for campers, and therefore their prices will be higher than, for example, if you wanted to go and camp in the Midlands area, which is less popular because it's got less attractions. It's not got the lakes and hills of the Lake District. It's not got the seaside and the surfing of Devon and Cornwall. So you end up paying less for camping if you camp in those areas. So most of the data they find is for campsites in other parts of the country. So that's putting in a sort of a con of using that form of market research. So therefore it takes it perhaps up to a level 2 merit, up to a discuss, because you're thinking about the pros and cons of what they do, the benefits and the downsides. Okay, so then finally let's look at an assess type answer. Okay, so this takes us up to a level 2 distinction. So this is the highest level that you need to get to. So assess how market research is used. Again, same question. Okay, so the campsite uses online pricing, blah, blah, blah. Exactly the same as I had before for explain. Exactly the same, however, as I had for the discuss. But then the key thing here is for assess, you're expected to put in some judgment. So here's my final paragraph. Therefore, this data is only useful when they are comparing their prices with other campsites in the Lake District. As there are not many camping and caravanning club campsites in the Lake District, they should also research the pricing of other independent campsites as well, perhaps using more general websites like campsites.co.uk. So I'm saying, okay, maybe their market research isn't good enough because they're only looking at a few other campsites. And if they want to understand campsites better, and by the way, Camping and Caravanning Club have some particular guidelines for their own campsites as to what exactly they offer and the sort of pricing they set, so maybe it's got limited value for them, and maybe they need to look at other campsites that are not part of the Camping and Caravanning Club and look at the prices that they offer to get a more general idea. And they can do that. There are various different comparison sites and things for campsites, other third-party sites that people can look at. So that's something that they could do instead. So you're actually assessing the value of the market research that they do and also suggesting some way in which they could improve. And one of the things the trainer said that's important to show distinction level work is that process of suggesting ways in which improvements could be made, as well as saying how good the market research is that they've already done. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Just to run through those command words again, at the bottom level we've got identify, that's just saying what they do. Next level, get outline, saying what they do and what that involves or why they do it. Explain, talking about how they use that thing to meet their needs, how they use it to improve the business. Discuss is then thinking about the pros and cons. It's starting to put in more of your own opinion, your own ideas into there, thinking about the pros and cons of the way in which they do that thing. And then assess, finally, is reaching a judgment, coming to your own conclusions, not the business's conclusions, but your own conclusions about how valuable that thing is that the business is doing, how important it is, or making a judgment about different levels of importance. So I hope that's been useful. In my next video, I'm going to be talking specifically about Learning Aim A, that first part of the coursework. Okay, so I'm signing off now. Hope you found that useful, and do always ask either me or Mr. Blythe or Mr. Hartley questions via Teams if you've got more questions about anything that I've said in this video. Okay.